Okay, in this video we're going to talk about my 7 build. There's plenty of ways to play 7. The way I like to play him is focused around the ult. In team fights with Lightning Scroll, Infuser, Spirit Burn, Exposure, all that, right? So let's talk about every item and kind of the thought process behind each item going into it, and it'll help you make decisions throughout the game on what to buy. You can skip around, but yeah, we'll get into it. First, we're going to talk about the ability point order. I like to start with the stun, then the ball, then the chain lightning. I get an upgrade on the stun for the minus cooldown. And then because this build is focused on the ult, I just get the ult and try to fully max it out so you can move during the ult and it lasts really, really long. So I like to do that. Then I get an upgrade on the chain lightning for the spirit resistance. Max out the stun to make it longer and huge. Max out the ball, it's going to help a little bit with farming plus more damage and things like that. And then last 2 clicks on the chain lightning. Okay, starting with lane items, I like to get headshot booster early because it's going to make your poke just way more. Every 8 seconds, you can do a bonus up to 50 damage headshot. It's up to because there is damage fall off, so if you shoot them really far, it's going to do less. The bonus health is alright. This does upgrade into Headhunter, which you can get this sooner. Like, this is not necessarily in any specific order. This is kind of usually what I do, but not necessarily. Sometimes I'll grab Headshot Booster and go straight into Headhunter. Sometimes, like if I get chunked early and I want a healing right, then I'll just grab a healing right. But either way, we'll go through all the items. Monster rounds is going to help with farming throughout the game. Plus, I like to upgrade it to Cult of Sacrifice by the time the big camps are spawning. So I could just instantly kill the big camp. If I'm in the side lanes, I like to grab the ones on the side. This ability range, fire rate, and health on the buff is really, really nice. They did nerf the duration from 180 down to 170, but that's not a big deal. It's whatever. Healing right does upgrade into Healing Nova, which is pretty nice. Plus, it helps with sustained lane, and the buff does give you movement. So, pretty good. And the Healing Nova is AoE heal, so it heals your lane partner also. Extra stamina, good stamina recovery. Upgrades into Arcane Surge. They did nerf this slightly. It used to be 20% ability range and 20% ability duration. But with the 15-15, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty nice. I like to pop this right when I'm going to clear a jungle camp so that my lightning ball is bigger and it lasts a little bit longer, right? So basically, it makes it easier to just clear the camps really fast. Plus, popping this right before you start your ult is really nice because 15% is, you know, that's a decent amount of coverage. So plus, and the way that this works is the expand duration is the same whether it's bigger or smaller, so it expands quicker. So it's pretty nice. We already went over these two, so I'm going to skip over to mid game. Compressed cooldown. This whole setup is based on using your ult, so you just want to reduce the cooldown on this as much as possible. So I imbue it with compressed, and then I upgrade to superior for even more cooldown reduction. Plus, superior cooldown will reduce the cooldown of Cult of Sacrifice, so it's going to give you a little bit of money there, plus keep your buffs on better. Mystic Slow, I grabbed this almost immediately after because the movement speed is nice, plus the slow on all of your things is super nice, and it does upgrade into Lightning Scroll, which you're going to get later anyway. So this helps it so it's harder for them to get out of your Storm Cloud. Suppressor is really nice because in a team fight, it's just reducing the enemy's damage a ton because it's reducing their fire rate. Plus, if anyone does try to man fight you and just shoot you down during your ult, they will most likely lose because of this. This is going to reduce their damage by a pretty significant amount. Enchanter's Emblem is a pretty good spirit resistance item to grab early on. It does give you spirit power and cooldown reduction, which the cooldown reduction, again, is going to help with the Storm Cloud. So pretty good. And it's relatively cheap. 1600 is not too bad. Spirit Lifesteal eventually upgrades into Infuser, which is insane for this build. It helps your ult just heal you pretty much full instantly. You can be half health, pop Infuser, pop your ult, and you just go full health. Plus it's cheap, and it's just going to give you more sustain, so you can actually sit in your ult. Mystic Vulnerability, it's going to reduce their spirit resistance, going to give them a little debuff. You apply it to everyone with your ult immediately, plus it does upgrade into Escalating Exposure later on. Alright, Infuser. Lifesteal, sustain. It's basically just pop this when you're going to pop your ult, or like if you're clearing a camp or something, you can just pop this and drop your lightning ball. The cooldown on this, when you have cooldown reducer and stuff and all that, is pretty low. You could just use it whenever you want, really. Lightning Scroll, really, really nice. It does a little stun with your ult, and the reason why I think it's extra nice because there's a lot of heroes like Lash and things like that, where if they start their ult a little bit late, like if you start your ult and they take a little bit of damage and he starts his ult to try to grab you out of yours, this stun a lot of times will interrupt that. So that's really, really nice. Plus, it just does give you bonus damage on your ult, and it affects pretty much everyone. It's a little stun, a little nice. And this stun is delayed almost perfectly. If you start your ult, lightning strike them into a wall, so they're kind of bounced up into a wall, and then by the time they land, then the stun goes off. So in that entire time frame, they're just getting hit by your ult like a lot. So it makes a pretty big difference. Spirit Burn, the ability range is pretty nice. The damage threshold did get nerfed. It used to be 400 to proc, now it's 500, but it's not too hard to do 500 damage, honestly, pretty quickly, especially if you drop Lightning Ball, Static Charge on them, and then immediately go into your ult. It's going to go pretty quick into proccing this. This will put a healing reduction on everyone. It does a little explosion, does a burn damage. The burn damage does also apply escalating exposure, so it's really good. It combos pretty well with that, and with all of these on, you're just going to melt anyone. Diviner's Kevlar is going to give you even more durability duration, which affects the stun duration on this, affects the lightning ball duration, it affects the debuff on this, and affects the duration of your ult. So pretty good, but really when you cast it, you get 1,000 barrier plus 25 spirit power. So if there's a big fight going on, and you pop your infuser and you pop your Diviner's Kevlar, you will go from like, you can be almost dead when you do that. And you'll just instantly go full health, plus get a massive shield, so pretty good. Down in the situational items, so buy as needed. That means you don't have to like get these and these and these. Every build I do, I always like to have a situational section where if you want it, come down and grab it. You want an Unstoppable, come down and grab Debuff Reducer and Unstoppable. You know, you're going to want this if they have like a bunch of knockdowns and stuff for your ult. Just whatever. If you want a Unstoppable, there it is right here. Witchmail is pretty nice. If you do end up getting a Witchmail, at that point, it's going to be super, super late into the game. At that point, a lot of times I end up selling the Enchanter's Emblem. Not necessarily guarantee, but sometimes, yeah. Just the extra spirit power and spirit resistance is a little bit nice, but really the passive, reducing the cooldown, is pretty nice. It just helps. It makes it just feel like you can spam your buttons way more often. Juggernaut. When I'm buying this, a lot of times I'm replacing Suppressor, because when you have all these items, then you're kind of maxed out on your spirit investments anyway, so you can swap this over to this. It does kind of the same thing, but only when they shoot you, so it's not necessarily exactly the same, but it does make you a lot more tanky. It does do fire rate more, but this is when you damage them, not when they shoot you, so kind of an iffy on that one, but I do have it down here for now. Hero Shift, I feel like it's just always going to be good. Like, just the way that the item works. If you need this item for any reason, come grab it. Warpstone, I debated on having Warpstone a situational or like a mid-game. It's really good every time. And it's not something that I will guarantee buy every time, but it's always good. So it's never bad to buy. So I put it down here in situational, but really, it's whatever. And again, just like every build in the entire game, you can always just come and grab any item you want, right? It's not like you're not allowed to. But yeah, the items that I would usually end up selling as needed throughout the game is obviously Cult of Sacrifice. Like if you're like fully slotted, you can sell this. Not as good. Healing Nova is not as good. Enchanter's Emblem is something that ends up being not as good. Headhunter and Arcane Surge, pretty much almost anything up here is eventually you can sell. Like if the game is lasting that long, you can just fill your items with all the expensive stuff. So usually the games are over, so it doesn't really matter. Just kind of do it as you feel. But that's the build. I think it's really fun. I like the style of just playing around the ult because it's so strong and it's really easy to play effectively. Well, that's it. Let me know. Try the build out. Let me know what you think.